Hello, my friends. I'm Sarah. Welcome to my channel. Do you know that feeling when you're speaking perfect English in your head, but the moment you need it, all the words just disappear? Well, let me tell you about the most awkward bus ride of my life, where my English skills abandoned me completely. It was a rainy Wednesday evening in London. I was exhausted after a long day at work, sitting on the crowded number 23 bus, headphones on, minding my own business. The bus was packed with tired commuters. All of us just wanted to get home. I had my favorite podcast playing, practicing my listening skills like I always do. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. Until it wasn't. A middle-aged man in a gray coat sat down next to me at the Baker Street stop. He looked tired, really tired. His eyes were already closing as he settled into the seat. I didn't think much of it. People are tired on buses all the time, right? I went back to my podcast, focusing on the English conversation. But then, slowly, I felt a weight on my right shoulder, a heavy, warm weight. The stranger's head was resting on my shoulder, and then I heard it, the gentle sound of snoring. My heart started racing. What should I do? What should I say? In that moment, every single English phrase I had ever learned just vanished from my brain. They were all gone, disappeared, like they had never existed. I knew I should wake him up politely. I knew the words existed somewhere in my mind. "Excuse me, sir. Sorry to bother you. I need to get up." Simple phrases, basic vocabulary, but my mouth wouldn't open. My tongue felt frozen. The words were stuck somewhere between my brain and my lips, refusing to come out. I looked around desperately. Other passengers were looking at their phones, reading books, staring out the window. Nobody made eye contact with me. They saw what was happening, but this was London. Nobody wanted to get involved. I was completely on my own with a snoring stranger using my shoulder as a pillow. And here's the really crazy part. This wasn't just uncomfortable. This was my stop coming up in 2 minutes. I needed to get off the bus, but I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I was trapped by my own awkwardness and my vanishing vocabulary. The bus stopped at Oxford Circus. It was my stop. The doors opened, people got off, people got on, and I just sat there, frozen, with a sleeping stranger on my shoulder. The doors closed, the bus moved on. I had missed my stop because I couldn't say 3 simple words. "Excuse me, sir." Now, you might be wondering, why didn't I just push him gently? Why didn't I just stand up? Well, that's the British way, isn't it? We're so worried about being rude, about causing a scene, about making someone feel uncomfortable. And when you're speaking a language that's not your first language, that fear multiplies. What if I say it wrong? What if I sound aggressive? What if I use the wrong tone? All these worries were spinning in my head while this man peacefully dreamed on my shoulder. The next stop came, then the next one. I was now 3 stops past where I needed to be. The man was still sleeping, still snoring softly. His head had gotten heavier somehow. My shoulder was starting to hurt, but the words still wouldn't come. I tried practicing in my head. "Excuse me. Sorry. Wake up, please." I could hear them in my mind, perfect pronunciation, perfect grammar, but they refused to leave my mouth. Then something interesting happened. A teenage girl across from me caught my eye. She had been watching this whole situation unfold. She smiled at me, a knowing smile. She could see my struggle. And that smile gave me courage, because in that smile, I saw understanding. I saw someone who knew what it felt like to be stuck in an awkward situation, unable to find the right words. That smile said, "I've been there too." I took a deep breath. "Just speak, Sarah. Just say something, anything. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be said." So I turned slightly toward the sleeping man, and in the quietest, most uncertain voice I had ever used, I whispered, Um, excuse me, sir. Nothing. He kept sleeping. Okay, louder. Excuse me, sir. My voice was shaking, but the words had finally escaped. Still nothing. He was in a deep sleep. Now I had no choice. I had to be more direct. Sir, I'm sorry, but I need to get up now. I said it louder this time with more confidence, and finally he stirred. His eyes opened slowly, confused and disoriented. He looked at me, realized where his head had been, and his face turned bright red. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," he said, jumping up immediately. "I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. I've been working double shifts all week. I'm absolutely exhausted. Please forgive me," he said, sadly. And you know what? His English was perfect, but his embarrassment was universal. In that moment, I realized something important. We were both human, both tired, both uncomfortable, both struggling in our own ways. Language wasn't the barrier, fear was. "It's okay," I told him, and I actually smiled. "It happens. You must be really tired. I hope you get some rest tonight." Those words came easily now, natural, flowing, because the fear had broken. The ice had melted. My vocabulary had returned. He thanked me again, apologized twice more, and got off at the next stop. I finally got off too, now 4 stops away from my house. It meant a longer walk home in the rain, but I had learned something valuable, something more important than any grammar rule or vocabulary list. I had learned that sometimes the hardest part of speaking English is not knowing the words. It is having the courage to use them, even when you're scared, even when you might make mistakes, even when the situation is awkward and uncomfortable. That night, walking home in the rain, I wasn't upset about the extra distance or my wet clothes. I was actually proud of myself because I had spoken. I had communicated. I had broken through that wall of fear that stops so many language learners from actually using what they know. The words were always there in my brain. They were just waiting for me to be brave enough to let them out. So here's what I want you to remember from my story. Your English doesn't have to be perfect. Your accent doesn't have to sound native. Your grammar doesn't have to be flawless. What matters is that you speak, that you try, and that you don't let fear keep your words trapped inside. Because every time you speak, even if it's awkward, even if you make mistakes, you're getting stronger. You're building confidence. You're becoming a real English speaker. Next time you're in an uncomfortable situation, remember me and the snoring stranger on the bus. Remember that it's okay to feel nervous. It's okay to struggle to find the words. But don't let that fear stop you from speaking. Take a deep breath and just say something. Anything. The words will come. They always do. Have you ever had a moment where your vocabulary just vanished when you needed it most? Share your story in the comments below. Let's learn from each other's experiences. And if you enjoyed this story and want to hear more about my English learning journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. Next time, I'll share another secret from my life, another lesson I learned the hard way. Until then, please keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember, being awkward in English is still better than being silent. Thank you for being here. Keep building, stone by stone. I believe in you. See you in the next video. Bye-bye for now, my dear friends.